So we have a lot of NFL news and rumors to go through, so let's jump right into them. Let's start with Khalil Mack. We had a report yesterday from Yahoo Sports' Charles Robinson, who says the two sides have, quote, made no progress. Robinson went on to say that he gets the feeling that Gruden doesn't want to pay Khalil Mack top market money, and that a trade could end up being the end to this issue. Now, I've been very outspoken about this on both Twitter and on multiple different shows, that I think that the Raiders are pulling one of the great stupid choices that we have seen in the NFL over the past decade. I also saw something on Twitter. Matt Miller, Bleacher Report's Matt Miller, tweeted out that a scout told him that you can replace Khalil Mack's production with a couple of different rotational guys. Yeah, that's just not how that works. That's not, you don't replace a defensive player of the year with a couple of rotational pass rushers. I'm a Patriots guy. I cover the Patriots professionally. As someone who has seen them trade away elite pass rushers in order to get a more rotation-based pass rushing system, that doesn't work. That simply does not work. Go watch the Patriots in the Super Bowl last year and tell me how a rotational pass rush works when you don't have an elite guy on the outside. It simply doesn't work. And I think it's kind of indicative of, just how kind of silly the Raiders have been about this whole situation. The Rams are about to pay Aaron Donald. The Giants just paid Odell Beckham Jr., and yet the Raiders won't pay Khalil Mack. It's just, out of all three of those guys, the player I would actually expect to get paid is the elite edge rusher. Like, we've seen how elite edge rushers can affect the defense. We saw it with Von Miller. We've seen it with how Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa have transformed the Chargers defense. What does John Gruden really think the Raiders defense is going to be without Khalil Mack? I really wonder if he thinks their team is actually going to be good without Mack. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Let me know in the comment section below when you think Khalil Mack will be back on the field. Let's go to our next piece of news here. Geno Atkins signs a new extension with the Cincinnati Bengals. 4 years, $65.3 million extension for one of the best pass rushers, one of the best defensive players in all of football. He has made the Pro Bowl the last 3 years. He made it in 2017. He was ranked as the second best interior lineman by Pro Football Focus last season. And if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you've seen a lot of your offensive linemen leave over the past couple of years. You saw the likes of Andrew Whitworth leave for the Rams. You saw Kevin Zeitler leave as well. And now you're on the defensive line. And the Bengals know that if they want any chance of winning this year, they're going to have to win with their front seven. And with Geno Atkins now in tow, and now for our next piece of news, we have also seen that they are signing Carlos Dunlap to an extension as well. This is pivotal for the Bengals. They have to keep this defensive line together. It really is, outside of A.J. Green, outside of A.J. Green, and I say he's the only elite player on that position group, their defensive line is their only elite position group that they have on the whole team. That linebacker core, Vontaze Burfict, is a fantastic player, but he can't stay on the field. That offensive line that used to be fantastic has lost a lot of pieces over the years. Andy Dalton is perennially average. So keeping Carlos Dunlap, one of the better and more consistent defensive ends in the NFL, keeping Geno Atkins on the team as well, and keeping those two together, who have really been the core of that defense over the past couple of years, is a great, great move for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's all about paying the right guys. Look, Carlos Dunlap is not as good of a player as Khalil Mack. He's not. But if the Bengals are willing to pay Carlos Dunlap $15 million a year, then I think the Raiders should be willing to pay Khalil Mack however much he wants. But great move by the Bengals, being able to keep two stalwarts on their defensive line. This edition of the Cam Rogers Show is presented by BetDSI. They have over 20 years in business and have great customer service. The place to make your prop bets. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Get up to $600 worth of deposit bonus. That's 120%. You can't get this deal anywhere. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code CAM120 to get your bonus. Free money to wager this football season or basketball season, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a guy who's probably going to be important to a lot of people in terms of betting this year is LeVeon Bell, who is going to report during Labor Day, maybe? So a report came out yesterday from Pro Football Talk and from Adam Schefter that LeVeon Bell has told some of his teammates that he will report on Labor Day. But LeVeon Bell wasn't too convinced about this on Twitter. He tweeted out, quote, "Don't believe the fake news. I never said anything to anyone." Now, this is a really interesting kind of tweet from LeVeon Bell. So last year, when Bell went through this whole situation, the first time, Bell reported 6 days before the Steelers' first game last season. Now, Labor Day would about line up with that same timeline. Now, if he's calling that fake news and saying that that is not true, I wonder when Le'Veon Bell is going to report, and I wonder if he's going to report for the full season. Is Le'Veon Bell going to sit out some games this year? Because, look, he's going to have to report eventually if he wants to play in week 1. The Steelers have already come out and said that Le'Veon Bell is going to be full go week 1 when he does inevitably play. But if Le'Veon Bell isn't going to report by Labor Day, when is he going to show up? Like, is he going to show up the Saturday before their game on Sunday? Is he going to show up the Friday? Labor Day is quite close to when the Steelers play their first game. So be on the lookout for when Le'Veon Bell is going to report. I'm freaked out. He's the best player I have on my Dynasty Fantasy League team, so this isn't good news for me. And I think this just goes to show more and more how disrespected Le'Veon Bell feels. And I understand him. You know, I understand why he feels disrespected. He wants to be paid and kind of reset the running back market. He just saw Todd Gurley get a fat contract, and now he wants to get paid. But personally, I think that paying running backs in the modern day NFL, maybe I just am, brainwashed from how the Patriots have run their kind of whole running back situation over the past couple of years. I personally don't believe in paying running backs that much money. Le'Veon Bell is a fantastic player, and obviously, his production has been unprecedented since he's come in the NFL. He leads the entire NFL in rushing yards by a considerable margin since he's entered the league. You just have to wonder, how much are you willing to pay for that guy when you could replace him with a stable of running backs and a couple of pass catchers as well? I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster is going to put up crazy numbers this year. They have a bunch of other great wide receivers on that team. James Washington, obviously the best wide receiver in football, Antonio Brown. So let me know in the comment section below, how much would you pay Le'Veon Bell? Personally, I would not go above $11 million a year for him. I think the amount of money that they're paying him on the franchise tag of $14.5 million, that's a lot of money to pay a running back. That is a lot of money to pay a running back. Even more than $10 million a year is a lot to pay a running back. Because remember, people, you aren't just paying him for that year. You're paying him for all the years going forward. And I argue right now, in the NFL, in terms of an offensive position, running back is the most difficult position to play in the NFL. I just think it's a tough position to pay right now, and we might see Le'Veon Bell on a different team by next season. We talked about the Eagles quarterback kind of decision coming up on Monday. We have an update for you. Doug Peterson expects to make the quarterback decision privately on Friday. But as we know in the NFL, nothing is truly private, and we will most likely hear about what their decision is going to be on Friday. Now, Carson Wentz has yet to be cleared for practice. However, him and Nick Foles are still splitting snaps with the first-team offense. So I wonder what the Eagles' plan fully is, because obviously Carson Wentz is going to come back and be the starting quarterback. He's one of my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's in line for a fantastic season. However, remember, I do think it'll take him some time to come back. Like ACL tears, you don't just come back from an ACL tear and you're perfectly 100%. It usually takes about a full season for you to get back to your full strength. But if Carson Wentz hasn't been cleared for contact yet, then I don't really think there's a chance of him playing week 1 against the Falcons. That's not that far away, guys. Like, that's next Thursday. That is not tomorrow. That is next Thursday. So we don't have a lot of time for Carson Wentz to actually get fully healthy. And for really the rest of the team, there isn't a lot of time for them to get fully healthy. Carson Wentz is injured. Jay Ajayi is injured. Alshon Jeffery is injured. Timmy Jernigan is injured as well. The Eagles are dealing with a lot of injuries to a lot of their elite players. They're lucky that the offensive line is healthy, and they're lucky that their front seven is also doing pretty well in terms of health outside of Timmy Jernigan, but they got a lot of injuries that they got to catch up on. I wonder if they're just going to go into this Falcons game and kind of get thrown off the field. I think the Falcons have the best roster in the NFL, but that's just me. So they got a lot of things to work on. And speaking of their injuries, Alshon Jeffery, according to Doug Peterson, is progressing well. We got a report yesterday that Alshon Jeffery will indeed miss the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, but is likely to be back for week 3. So if you're a fantasy owner out there, you're looking to draft Alshon Jeffery, probably is going to be a better idea to draft Nelson Aguilar. I just think he's going to have a better season in general. But Doug Peterson did say that Alshon Jeffery is catching 75 balls a day. He is in game shape. He is trying to come back from this injury as fast as he can. But remember, he is coming off a torn rotator cuff surgery. That is not an easy injury to come back for any NFL wide receiver, especially one who's as physical as an Alshon Jeffery, and someone who really, his entire career isn't made off of this, but a big part of his game is his physicality and being able to win those 50-50 jump balls. So if he's not able to get that full extension on his shoulders, it's going to be a much bigger issue for him going forward than it would be if he just sat out and got fully healthy. So if you're the Eagles, you know how much talent you have on this roster. Let everyone get healthy. Let Ajayi get healthy. Let Carson Wentz get healthy. Let Alshon Jeffery get healthy and see what happens later. So we have a trade for you guys. Correa was traded to the Tennessee Titans from the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens got a 2019 sixth-round pick for him. Baltimore drafted him back in the second round in 2019. He simply hasn't worked out. They've tried him all over that linebacker core, inside, outside, pass rusher. Nothing has really worked for him in their system, and it seems like they want to give him a fresh start. So Correa on his way to the Tennessee Titans. Who knows? Maybe Mike Vrabel will be able to turn him into an elite linebacker, but for now, the former second-round pick has been a pretty massive bust. Do you know what isn't a bust? These Miz and Main shirts. In fact, they are a first-round pick all day, every day. These Miz and Main shirts are the best shirts that you will find anywhere. Clothing stores, on the internet, anywhere. Head to www.comfortable.af because you can look as good as me. I'm a generally attractive dude. These Miz and Main shirts bring me up another level. Go pick out yours today. They have all different kinds of colors, shapes, and sizes for your fit. Head again to www.comfortable.af. Thanks to Miz and Main for supplying the clothing for the men here at Chat Sports. Let's go to our next rumor. We got a little Dez Bryant update. Had a report yesterday where he said, quote, "I will play ball this year." And he went on to say it just might be a little later in the year. So Dez Bryant has already turned down deals from the Ravens and the Browns. And I think at this point, Dez understands that he's not going to get paid a lot of money. And for for his interest in the Browns, I think Dez Bryant used the Browns to keep himself in the headlines. And that's good. Dez Bryant should be trying to keep himself in the headlines as much as he can. Good for him of trying to get on Hard Knocks. Good for him for trying to get some attention from a team that he knows is in the national spotlight right now. For how bad the Browns have been over the past couple of years, they really have been one of the most talked about teams in the NFL this entire offseason. So for Dez Bryant trying to keep himself in the headlines, being associated with the Browns isn't a bad thing. Him turning down a deal from the Browns is a little bit interesting, but again, from what we know about Dez Bryant, he wants to play for a winning team. And I don't blame him. What happens if he goes to the Browns? The team is terrible and he can't put up the stats that he wants. Now, I think a very specific team is going to have to end up signing Dez Bryant. It's not going to be a team with a really, intense scheme like the New England Patriots. I don't think it's going to be a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars who really wants their young wide receivers to step up. I think it's going to be a team like, who knows, maybe the Atlanta Falcons, maybe Julio Jones end up with a big-time injury and they want to bring someone in. Maybe the Chargers have Keenan Allen go down again and they want to bring in a Dez Bryant to fill in for him. I'm not saying that these offenses are perfect fits for Dez Bryant, but at this point, I think Dez will end up on a team that has a pretty massive injury. So let me know in the comment section below what team you think Dez Bryant will play for this year. Let's go to our next piece of news here. Breshad Perriman might be getting cut. According to ESPN, they think that Perriman will miss the 53-man cut. That's not a huge surprise because that dude's bad. You know what the number one job of any NFL wide receiver is? It's to catch the ball. Catching the ball, fun fact, is very important for a wide receiver. It's like how my job as an on-air host is to talk. If I couldn't talk, then I wouldn't be a very good on-air host, would I? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have a job. But if Breshad Perriman, who's a wide receiver in the NFL, cannot catch the ball, he's not going to get a job. That's just how the position works. The best players at the position have the best hands. And Breshad Perriman, despite the fact that he was drafted in the first round of 2015, it is now 2018. The fact that this dude, after almost 3 full seasons plus another year, has not been able to improve his catching ability is blasphemous to me. That is outrageous to me. What the hell is this guy doing if not trying to catch 1,000 balls a day? Just sit in front of the jug machine and catch the ball. All day, every day. That is all this dude should be doing, ever doing. Don't work out. Don't try to get faster. Learn how to catch the ball. There are NFL wide receivers who are slow as all hell, who have made in their entire careers off of simply catching the ball. The only really successful wide receiver who has only been able to be fast and not catch the ball well is Ted Ginn. And even he improved his catching ability over the years, regardless of how terrible it still is. But Breshad Perriman, he's probably going to get cut from the Ravens. Maybe he just needs a new situation, but for now, he has been one of the biggest first-round busts that we have seen over the past 5 years. Let's go to our next rumor here. Kevin White, talking about wide receiver busts. He might actually make the Chicago Bears roster, and mostly because Matt Nagy is absolutely in love with this guy. Matt Nagy was talking about him, saying that he loves underdogs and saying that he is really rooting for Kevin White. And honestly, if you're the Bears, keep him on the roster. Absolutely keep him on the roster. There's no reason not to. He's actually looked pretty good this preseason, caught a touchdown in their last preseason game, looks to have some nice quickness off the line. For Kevin White, it was never about ability. It was simply about staying healthy. And now with the Bears, he's going to be their number 4 wide receiver. They have Allen Robinson. They drafted Anthony Miller out of Memphis, who's a fantastic, quick wide receiver. They have Taylor Gabriel as a deep threat. So I think that Kevin White could basically be Allen Robinson's backup on the outside. He brings good size. He brings good catching ability. If he stays healthy, don't be surprised if he jumps up the depth chart and starts actually putting up some numbers this year. He still has a lot of talent. It's always been about health. And with him having a head coach who really believes in him, I think that Kevin White could end up having a very good season. Let's go to Leonard Floyd, who might be playing in Week 1 despite breaking his hand. So this is going to be fun. We're going to see a club. We know that Leonard Floyd is expected to play Week 1, this coming from head coach Matt Nagy, though he will play with a club on that broken right hand, which is a little unfortunate seeing as he is a pass rusher, and a lot of pass rushing has to do with the ability to use your hands. Now, JPP has been just fine seeing as he blew off half of his hand, but that's also one of the elite pass rushers in the NFL, or at least he used to be. I'm not really sure. Is JPP still an elite pass rusher in the NFL? I'm not really sure what he's considered anymore. It seems that everyone has their own random opinion about him. But for Leonard Floyd, this doesn't seem to be a super long-term issue. He should be fine going forward. The Bears, like I said, do expect him to play in Week 1. So watch out for Leonard Floyd. He is in line for a really big season for them. Leonard Floyd sitting next to Roquan Smith, 2 Georgia guys. I think that they're going to have a great time on that Bears defense. Do you think you know more than me in terms of NFL? Well, it's now time to be a player and not a talker. Get paid for being a genius when it comes to sports like me. Visit chatsports.com/bet. That's chatsports.com/bet. Go there and use our exclusive offer to get up to $600 worth of a free deposit bonus. That's 120%. Use promo code CAM120. It's not gambling when you know that you're going to win. Go there, start winning. It's time to get paid. Let's go to our next rumor here. The Bills have not decided who their Week 1 quarterback is. Head coach Sean McDermott said, quote, "No further quarterback developments." Now, I know that we love blaming offensive lines for bad quarterback play in the NFL. We do. That's just the nature of the beast. But if there's one thing that Josh Allen looked to me when in his game against the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously he got sacked a lot, he didn't look very good to me. To me, he looked overwhelmed. He looked like the game was moving very fast for him. He was not really moving through his progressions very well. He seemed to be moving very slowly in terms of who he wanted to throw the ball to, and that, I think, also allowed him to get sacked more often. But do you know who's looked the best for the Bills quarterbacks? Nathan Peterman. I mean, I want everyone to do this because I don't like being so negative all the time about specific players. Can we give Nathan Peterman a fresh start? I think he deserves it. Simply because I think most guys deserve a fresh start, especially when they're put into a very, bad situation. Nathan Peterman last year in his one start where he threw the 5 interceptions, that was not a fair start for him. Tyrod Taylor was playing for the entire season, was the starting quarterback, was the emotional and physical leader of that team, and all of a sudden he just got thrown in there against an elite defense in the Los Angeles Chargers. That wasn't fair. That was not a fair situation that he was put in. He got totally shafted, but now this offseason, he looks way better. He looks better than Josh Allen, in my opinion. A.J. McCarron can't stay on the field. He's still improving from that injury. But I just wonder where they're going to go with the quarterback position. If it was up to me, I'd throw Nathan Peterman out there because you know that Bills' offensive line is bad. If you're trying to protect Josh Allen, I'm not saying throw Nathan Peterman to the Wolves and let him get injured, but you just drafted Josh Allen in the first round. If you're trying to protect that guy, probably not a great idea to throw him behind that offensive line at this point. So we'll have more updates for you on the Bills' quarterback job as we go forward. Jordan Reed, though, is alive and apparently is expected to play Week 1 despite missing the preseason. So Reed he only played 6 games last year. The dude has missed 28 games in the past 5 seasons. This dude has the worst toes of any NFL athlete in the history of the world. Turf toe, broken toes, toe surgeries. Every single injury that this dude ends up with revolves around his toes. Jordan Reed, just cut him off. Run around with a club foot at this point. You got no hope with these toes. These toes are sapping one of the best NFL tight ends in terms of overall ability in the NFL. It is wild to me. I've never seen anything like this. Rob Gronkowski has back problems. Antonio Gates has leg issues. Jordan Reed has toe problems. Can you imagine being an NFL tight end and the thing holding you back from stardom are your toes? Oh, that would piss me off to no end. But apparently Jordan Reed will be playing week 1 for the Washington Redskins. As of right now, it's going to be a great target for Alex Smith. I really hope Jordan Reed can stay healthy. He's one of my favorite underrated players in the NFL. It's just those damn toes, man. It's those damn toes. Get those toes healthy, Jordan. Or hell, just cut them off. Let's go to Jerry Jones, because this is one of the funniest things that Jerry Jones says. A lot of funny things. He's a little bit crazy. He says a lot of things, and you kind of just, sometimes you ignore him, sometimes you listen to him, sometimes you laugh at him. But Jerry Jones saying that an 18-game NFL season would make the NFL a safer game is maybe one of the funniest things any human being has ever said. Sure, let's imagine it this way, because I saw this on Twitter, and I really like this analogy. Let's say you compare a football game to a car crash, because that's where a lot of these head injuries, it's equivalent to a car crash. So instead of getting into 16 car crashes, you're going to get into 18 car crashes. What? And you're also going to get rid of 2 weeks of the preseason. And I understand, I think the preseason's too long, but if you only have a 2-game preseason, the starters are going to play more in those 2 preseason games, which means that they're going to end up playing about 19 to 20 full football games before the playoffs. And by the end of the playoffs, you might have ended up playing 21 football games in a season. Because remember, you make the playoffs, it's just outrageous. Like, that is an 18-game regular season to me has always been one of the weirdest topics in the NFL. I understand it's about money. I understand that they want to, eke in a second bye week about it. But an 18-game regular season is ambitious. That is ambitious. That is dangerous. And the only people who want it, it's really interesting, the only people who ever talk about wanting an 18-game regular season are the owners. And that's because of one reason. Money, baby. 18-game regular season, that's 2 more nationally televised games, and that's more money in the pockets of owners. No. I'm typing an N for no. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you want an 18-game regular season? I say no. I think that is absolutely blasphemous. That is dangerous, and that is not something that the NFL should look into. No, thank you. Let's go to our next piece of news here. This was also a really interesting quote, and this was kind of a head-scratcher to me. So, Odell Beckham Jr. just signed a massive extension, 5 years, $95 million deal. Ton of guaranteed money, has a $20 million signing bonus for this year. But according to Giants owner John Mara, he said that OBJ got his deal because they watched him in practice versus the Lions and deemed him healthy enough. As if they weren't going to give Odell Beckham Jr. his contract if he didn't practice well against the Detroit Lions. These owners say the most interesting and strange things. And I understand I'm kind of taking it out of context, and that wasn't entirely what he meant, but why even bring that up that he looked good in practice so you were okay giving him the contract? I understand he's coming off the season-ending ankle injury, and you don't want to give a full contract to a guy who isn't 100% healthy, but, just use your eyeballs, man. It's wild to me that that's what was needed in order to get him a new contract. But Odell got his money. If you're wondering why his base salary is so low this year, it's because that signing bonus is so large for this season.